1926 Subpart CC. Appendix B. Assembly/disassembly sample procedures for minimizing the risk of unintended dangerous boom movement. Appendix B to Subpart CC of Part 1926 Assembly/disassembly sample procedures for minimizing the risk of unintended dangerous boom movement. 1. Section 1926.1404 F1 provides that when pins or similar devices are being removed, employees must not be under the boom, jib, or other components, except where the requirements of Section 1926.1404 F2 are met. The exception in Section 1926.1404 F2 applies when the employer demonstrates that site constraints require one or more employees to be under the boom, jib, or other components when pins or similar devices are being removed. In such a situation, the A/D director must implement procedures that minimize the risk of unintended dangerous movement and minimize the duration and extent of exposure under the boom. The following scenario is an example of how the exception applies. A boom cannot be disassembled on the ground because of above-ground piping, as might be found, for example, in an oil refinery, that precludes lowering the boom to the ground. The boom must therefore be disassembled in the air, and the employees who remove the pins must perform that work from an aerial lift whose base is positioned on one side, the near side, of the boom. To gain access to the pins on the far side, the aerial lift basket must move under the boom, since, due to lack of room, the aerial lift cannot be repositioned on the far side. Due to lack of room, the aerial lift cannot be repositioned on the far side, so the aerial basket must move under the boom to gain access to the pins on the far side. To minimize the risk of unintended dangerous movement while the pins are removed, the A/D director uses an assist crane that is rigged to support the boom section that is being detached, using particular care to ensure that the section end that is near the employees removing the pins is well supported. The duration and extent of exposure is minimized by removing the far side pins first, moving the aerial lift basket as soon as possible to the near side so that the employees are no longer under the boom, and then removing the near side pins. 2. Section 1926.1404 H6 provides that, during assembly/disassembly, the center of gravity of the load must be identified if that is necessary for the method used for maintaining stability. Section 1926.1404 H6(2) states that, where there is insufficient information to accurately identify the center of gravity, measures designed to prevent unintended dangerous movement resulting from an inaccurate identification of the center of gravity must be used. An example of the application of Section 1926.1404 H6(2) is as follows. The boom is assembled by lowering boom sections sequentially into place using an assist crane. The A/D director's plan is to keep the boom section stable while they are lowered into place by attaching the assist crane hoist line above the center of gravity of each section. However, in assembling the non-symmetrical top section of the boom, the A/D director is not able to determine where to attach the assist crane hoist line so that it is above the center of gravity. In this situation, before raising the section, all personnel are kept clear of the section and the section is first raised a few inches to determine whether it tips when raised. If it did tip, it would indicate it is not rigged over the center of gravity. If this occurs, the hoist line is repositioned and the procedure repeated, with employees kept clear of the section while it is raised, until the A/D director determines that it is rigged over the center of gravity and can be moved into place without dangerous movement.